Hey guys, Marsingan here, bringing on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we are going to talk about the picks for the 10th anniversary Memorial Stone that should be available from the Porunga wishes. I mean, I'm recording this after the video I made talking about the news that we are going to be able to get a free anniversary character, so I will stress that at this point, unless it has been revealed in the data download, and then I guess I just have to re-record the intro to this video and you won't hear it, but we don't know exactly how the stone is going to work. I've had some interesting ideas from the comment section of that initial video, because they do mention that as well as the 10th anniversary characters, a bunch of other characters from last year will be available. And it's funny because the way they word it is like, if you've already pulled all the other, like all the anniversary characters, there are some other characters you could get instead. Whereas, of course, some people, you know, you might still just want to use that stone in order to pick up a dupe for your favorite anniversary character. However, someone did make a very good point that I pinned as the comment on that previous video, is imagine if it's kind of like the LR stones or the blue stones situation that we've had in the past, where the wish actually gives you multiple of the stones, and then let's say we get 3. The anniversary characters themselves will cost 3. So if you want to get one of the anniversary characters, boom, you trade your stones in, you get one of the anniversary characters, and you're all good. But the other units could potentially cost less, like the other LRs, like say the Worldwide Celebration LRs maybe cost 2, and then the TURs, like we saw, there's like Topo, Roshi, some of these other characters, maybe they cost 1. So then you could actually get, if you don't want one of the anniversary characters, you could end up actually getting 2 characters. Now, like I said, at this point, none of that is confirmed. And if we do find out from the data download exactly how it works, then no one will hear this anyway, because I will re-record a new intro and cut it over the top. But bearing in mind, as of now, all we know is that we are going to be able to get at least 1 character for free. I feel like if it is going to be the multi-stone thing, you are probably going to use all of them in order to get one of the 10th anniversary characters. But as I said, when it comes to the wishes, trading them all in for 1 anniversary character guaranteed for free, I think is absolutely worth it. So for this video, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, we are going to talk about who is the best character to pick with the stone, and this is obviously going into it based on the idea that we are only going to be able to pick 1. But obviously when we talk about some of the TURs and stuff, like if you do want to get a non-anniversary character, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But for this first part, we're just going to talk about the 6th anniversary characters, and which one of them you should pick if you're going to pick one of those for your thing. Now, obviously, for a lot of people, you might not necessarily need this video. You might be in the mindset of, well, I've only not pulled one of them, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that one so that I've got the whole collection, which is fair. But obviously some of them are worse than others, and as we're going to go through now, if I was in a sort of situation where I was missing one of these guys in particular, I probably wouldn't get them with the stone and rather get one of the better ones. And so, of course, I thought it'd be funny to start the video with the STR Blue Evolution Vegeta up on the screen, because we're going to straight away just get Blue Evolution Vegeta and Goku and Frieza out of the discussion here straight away. Now, this unit especially, I think, is maybe being a little bit underrated. Very, very useful in the Formidable Foes event, which we're going to get new stages for coming soon, because of his ability to stun and to lower attack. But obviously this guy is kind of disappointing. He is the Blue Evolution Vegeta of part 2. Like, these 2 units are just not on the same level as the other 4 anniversary characters. So honestly, I would say, unless you really want them for your collection, like if you're missing either of these 2 and you have the other 4, I probably wouldn't personally pick up one of these with the coins, unless you really want them to like run their team specifically, or like I say, you want to complete the collection. I probably wouldn't bother wasting the free copy on one of these ones, right? Now, obviously, it's up to you, but you know, the whole point of the video is I'm giving my take on it. I would be perfectly fine if I had finished out the 10th anniversary not having either of these characters, to be perfectly honest. So let me know what you think down below. If you are somebody who is missing one of them, are you thinking about picking them up with the stone? But let's discuss the 4 viable options, I should say, the 4 better options, right? So we have Tech Vegito, AGL Gogeta, Super Saiyan 3, Goku to Super Saiyan 4, AGL, and then obviously physical Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now, I made a tier list the other day. I mean, it should be no surprise to anyone that considering the ranking overall in the game, like, these two are the two best units in the game. And as we've talked about both on the tier list, on recent streams, like, there isn't really a huge gap between them at all. Like, it's very easy to make arguments for either one of these guys being the best unit in the game. I think that, especially in terms of, although you kind of are relying on RNG, in terms of the early turns when they're in their base, like for example, when you get to the turn where you can exchange, and it's the turn before you confuse, this Goku, I would say, can be a lot better than this Vegeta, because as you haven't stacked any defense yet, whilst he does obviously have guard, but only in slot 1, he can get caught if you exchange into him on that first turn and put him in slot 1. And then, of course, if you don't put him in slot 1, he doesn't have guard. So that potentially could be a little bit risky. I mean, he has 70% damage reduction. So don't get me wrong. It's not like he gets absolutely torn apart by everyone. But especially in the new event with the hard-hitting bosses, like, he could potentially be a bit of a risk in slot 1. Especially if you have him at obviously like low dupe level, right? Because if we're talking about picking up a copy of a character you don't have with this stone, they're only going to be at 55%. Whereas the Goku, whilst you are kind of relying on that luck, if you put him in slot 1, he has an 80% chance to dodge. We had a run on the stream yesterday where we were testing out, I think it was for the Glorio video, in fact, that went up yesterday, but we put this guy in slot 1 against the Red Zone Beerus, and he dodged 6 out of 7 of the attacks, one of which was the super, and then just took double-digit damage from the normal attack. So I feel like this is really, really good. Now, when it comes to their non-fusion active skills, this guy's one is insane. Like, this guy's active skill, honestly, if you are gonna not fuse into Gogeta or Vegito, this guy's active skill has such insane utility, it can essentially win you the event, right? It ghost ushers the enemy for the turn, which straight away is great, right? And then on the next turn of this guy's appearance, so like you'd ghost usher, then the next turn with your next rotation would play out as normal, then your next rotation when it comes back around to this guy, you could put him in slot 1 and he has a 100% chance to dodge. And I believe the buff carries over. I still need to test it. We were talking about it on the last episode of the podcast, so if I remember, I'll test it after I finish this video and put a comment. But you should, even if you switch back to Vegeta, he should still have the 100% dodge, because I believe it was confirmed in part 1 that if you use Vegeta's active skill, which gives a permanent stat buff and guard, if you switch back to Goku, he has that guard still. Right, and then Vegeta's active skill is a permanent buff, so that does make him very, very good. But even then, again, like if you use it straight away on the turn where he first comes out, a big super attack in slot 1 could potentially still do some damage to him, whereas obviously Goku just ghost ushers the whole turn, so nobody else on the turn can take damage either, which is kind of crazy. And then, of course, when it comes to the fusions themselves, Super Vegito definitely out damages Gogeta because of all the crazy counters that he can do, and of course his active skill being a target ability focuses all the attacks onto him, so he's going to get a ton of counters in that turn. The amount of damage, honestly, that he puts out, especially because on the active skill turn he gets guaranteed crits as well, the amount of damage that he does is absolutely insane. And then Gogeta, whilst he doesn't out damage him himself, like he does an extra super guaranteed, he gets guaranteed crits, like he'll do more damage with his super attacks than Vegito does, but he doesn't get any counters. But his active skill will still hit very hard, and then it gives the other 2 units on the rotation 54% attack and defense, and attacks effective against all types. So it allows the other 2 units on the rotation to hit even harder as well. Now, the big difference between their active skills is Vegito's target ability protects the entire rotation, whereas Gogeta gives everybody a buff. But obviously, if you were running a team build where, let's say, you have a floating slot 3 support unit who is not the best defensively, they could still get killed on that turn if they got supered in slot 3. And as I say, the damage that those 2 extra units are going to do in slot 2 and 3, well, they don't have to be in slot 2 or 3, but the other 2 units on the turn other than Gogeta, the damage that they're going to do that turn with the extra 54% buff still doesn't add up to the kind of damage that Vegeto's going to do by countering every single attack on the turn. So obviously both the active skills are really, really good. But if it comes down to you're choosing between who to get with Vegito or Gogeta, Vegito definitely has the better leader skill, because they both have fused fighters or pure Saiyans, and then Earth Protecting Heroes is a slightly, well, I say slightly, is a better category than Successors. And then for the plus 50%, Gifted Warriors is a way more limited category than Earthbred Fighters, which is literally like every Goku, Gohan, like Goten, Trunks, etc. So Vegito, hands down, has the best leader skill. There are many arguments you could say for Gogeta being better than Vegito, but the leader skill is absolutely not one of them. And so yeah, when it comes to active skills, Vegito protects the whole rotation and out damages Gogeta. Gogeta does a ton of damage and buffs everybody else on the rotation, so it allows other units to do some crazy stuff, which is also very fun. When it comes to the non-fusion active skills, Gogeta's is absolutely better. So it's one of those things I talked about on stream yesterday. It's all about the, are you locking in to win the event, or do you want to have fun and see cool animations? Because obviously for me, like, if the event's going to go on that long, I want to see Gogeta and Vegito because they're awesome and they've got really cool animations, they're very powerful. But there are certain events, especially with this active skill for the Goku, like this could straight up just win you events because a Ghost Usher is incredibly powerful. And then on the next turn, this guy comes around, he has a 100% chance to dodge, which means you're not taking any damage in slot 1 and the slot 2 unit gets to attack, and that's all before the enemy can do anything to you because Goku can't be hit. So that's really powerful. And obviously even the Vegeta active skill, like that buff makes him a really good defensive unit for the rest of the fight. So there's pros and cons in each column. I do think overall, if you could only have one, that's what it boils down to. If someone was to say to me, you know, I don't have either of them, when the anniversary comes to an end, will my account be better if I have Vegito or if I have Gogeta? I would say Vegito, largely because of the leader skill. But yeah, if you could only have one of the two, I would say Vegito. So obviously the top pick for the 10th anniversary stone really is Vegito and then Gogeta. But of course, if you have both of them already, and so you're wondering whether to get one of these two, because I do think, for me personally, as much as I said about ignoring these two because they're not very good, I would like to have copies of the ones that I don't have. So of course, if let's say you're in that position where you've only got Vegito and Gogeta, you could get a dupe for them if you really wanted to. But when it comes to Super Saiyan 3 Goku and then Gohan, shouldn't be much of a surprise if you saw my tier list, because obviously we're kind of going in priority order. The Goku, I would say, is better than the Gohan. He's not really a slot 1 unit, but then neither's Gohan. He's providing support, which is really good. The Giant Ape transformation can be used as a team protection ability, and then of course he transforms into Super Saiyan 4 Goku, who is very good. Hits really hard, gets guaranteed crits, and then he's giving Power Beyond Super Saiyan or Giant Ape Power allies 70% defense and 10% damage reduction, which is really good. And obviously he has guard. And then the big thing is, even on teams with characters who aren't in those two categories, he buffs all allies attack and defense 44% for 2 turns. So if you're running him on, let's say, on main rotation on 1 turn, and then on the other turn you have your 2 like hard hitters, or you know, your other rotation, you're literally running like Vegito and Gogeta, they both then get a 44% buff from him supering on the previous turn. So Goku, he's the only one that I'm missing. He is the one that I will be picking up with the anniversary stone. He is very good. He's going to fit on a lot of teams. And whilst I don't want to go into spoilers, I mean, at this point, the episode's been out for almost a full week. But all I will say is what we've seen from the recent stuff from Daima. Having this guy is probably going to be quite useful with potential future releases. If you know, you know. But, you know, the episode's been out a week now. You've probably, if you're like me, I saw spoilers on the timeline literally 10 minutes after the episode had ended. So yeah, having this guy for the future is going to be really good. And Power Beyond Super Saiyan is a category that always gets buffed, right? Anytime there's a new God Goku or Blue Goku or Gogeta Vegito, Blue, Super Saiyan 4, in Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, EZA, like all this kind of stuff, right? They're always going to be getting buffed by this guy, and even in his Super Saiyan 3 like base form, he's buffing all those guys by 50% defense, so you could throw him on teams as a floating 3rd slot support unit and he's still going to be really good. And then Gohan, he is very good as well. I think he's maybe a little bit underrated, but he's really good. He can hit really hard. His defense post super is solid, and he has guard and 20% damage reduction. 20% isn't a lot, so some big bosses will be able to do like a lot of damage to him with his with their supers even after he's attacked. But bear in mind, he's raising defense on all of his supers and gets multiple of them in the early turns. His only real weakness, and again, because we're talking about picking up these units with the stone, his only real weakness is at like 55%. He's not got any crit. Obviously, we will get the anniversary special orbs eventually by the end of the event, but he doesn't have any crit. And then once you get to that 5th turn and he loses this like intro buff, he's really only doing like 1 super in the turn. And then that, you know, it is what it is. Like, he gets extra defense from that point onwards, which is good, but he's only doing the 1 super. So again, at that point, whilst he is doing a big attack stat, he could then get tagged by a super. So he is very, very good. But if I would put it down to, like, especially with a 55% comparison, I think Goku is more useful. As I said with the Vegito and Gogeta comparison, if you were to say having which one of these two overall like makes my account better, I would say it would be this guy because of the support, the team protection ability from the Golden Ape, and yeah, the fact that he has a lot of growth potential for the future with that support and the teams that he's going to be on. So to break it down in terms of the anniversary characters themselves, probably no real surprise, but the top 2 picks are going to be either Vegito or Gogeta, with the Vegito being the priority, I would say, if you don't have either of them, because of the leader skill specifically. And then the next priority would be Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then Gohan. And then honestly, even if you've got those 4, I probably wouldn't recommend getting Frieza and Goku or Blue Evolution Vegeta, because there are some other characters available, and we're going to talk about them now very quickly. So if you're somebody who has all 6 of the anniversary characters and you don't want to get a dupe for one of them, or you're someone who, like I say, you don't have Blue Evolution Vegeta or Frieza, but you don't really care about getting them, or even if, you know, to be honest, even if you don't have like Gohan, I could see, as good as Gohan is, if you don't have him, maybe you want some of these other units that are available more than him. I would say that's perfectly fair. Because when we look at some of the other units that we know are available that they showed in that clip, bear in mind you've got characters like Beast Gohan, who I still think arguably is one of the best units in the game. I still put him in the top 3, and I can see arguments where he is better than the Gogeta and Vegito, because he's much better turn 1 than their base forms of their cards. So Beast is available, and he's still very, very good. Tech Broly from the Worldwide Celebration, still one of the best slot 1 units for turn 1 in the entire game. Very, very good. Movie Bosses is a team that is still very capable. Int Broly, of course, as well, especially with his better leader skill. That Broly team is just insanely powerful. I finally got my first copy of him with this anniversary from the banner with the coins, and he's really, really good. So again, like these 3 units in particular, if you were missing one of these 3 units, I would say you're better off getting one of those 3 than you are getting Vegeta or Frieza, right? So these guys are all very, very good. We also, of course, have Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, who came out right near the end of the last year, so I know a lot of people skipped him to save for the anniversary. He's insane on the Vegito and Gogeta teams because they both give him the full 220 lead. He's really, really good, and as more difficult bosses continue to come out, any bosses that have Ki Blast super attacks, he's practically invincible against them. Does a ton of damage, he's just very, very good. And then when it comes to the TURs, and these are in no particular order, but Slug is really good, his team is really good, he still performs exceptionally well. If the first unit that releases after the anniversary follows the trend of the last few years and is an extreme unit, if they're a good unit with big bad bosses, then potentially stocks for this guy go up quite a bit. I've also got Tech Buhan, who released near the end of last year and is very, very good. Very solid team for some of these characters. You can run like the Janembas and all the other boos and stuff on his team, and his domain and everything is very, very good. And of course, we have the Daima New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest characters with Glorio, who's still absolutely ridiculous. His team is still super good. There's multiple ways you can run his team, and it's very, very powerful. As soon as he gets a 220 lead, he will easily be a must-include like character on that team for providing support. And then we can't forget about the Daima Goku. He is still very good as well. I think he's probably a little bit underrated. Like for me, I put all my stones into trying to get Glorio from that Dual Dokkan Fest, so I did get him, but it took me all the stones that I had, so I didn't get Goku. So if it wasn't for, you know, the fact that I actually still need LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku from the anniversary, Daima Goku is definitely a solid pick. But remember, these two will come back for Golden Week and be featured on the banners. but they're worth considering because they're both very good. And of course, Golden Week is, you know, what, 4 months away, 3-4 months away. And then of course these guys, not sure when they will return on another banner. This guy won't return because he's a Carnival LR. He won't return until the next standalone Carnival banner, which potentially won't be till part 2 of the Tanabata, which is in July. So quite a long way away for potentially this guy to return. And then like the worldwide LRs, they'll be on the Tanabata banner. The Carnival LRs won't be back until the well, actually it might be the next worldwide now after this. So Tech Broly won't be available for quite some time. If you haven't picked him up with like Carnival coins now or got him off one of the banners, he won't be available for some time. So these guys are viable options as well. So when it comes down to the anniversary characters themselves, no surprise, the top picks are going to be Vegito or Gogeta. If you have both of them, I would say the top pick is Goku. Gohan is a nice to have unit, but definitely not a must have. Like I would say, especially if you have Vegito, like there are certain team builds where I would probably argue that you'd be better off having Gotenks than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. And then of course characters like Broly and Beast as well. Like if you don't have Beast, even though he's still a year old at this point, you're probably better off having Beast than this Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. If we're talking about at 55%, because you don't have either, but you have Vegito, so you can run him on his team, then I would say you're probably better off having Beast than you are having physical Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What are you thinking about for your stone pick? Obviously, at this point, we will know what's going on with the stones if there's been any info in the data download, whether we can get one character or more than one if we don't pick an anniversary unit. At the time of recording, that was unknown, but we will see. So let me know what all your thoughts are down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.